by your opinion, no hope for the PDP. But let's see, because we know in politics, 24 hours is a lot of time, so anything can change as long as they continue with their politicking. Now, the Daily Independent newspaper, the lead. Sky high fares in Nigeria blamed on expanding web of federal government levies. UK warns its citizens against travel to Borno, Yobe, Adamawa, others. Anambra Guba, SERAP gives INEC 7 days to report vote buying sponsors to EFCC, ICPC, police. No work, no pay. Rule can't deter workers from strike, and this is coming from NASU. Federal government okays 3 new policies to boost civil service productivity. ADC accuses INEC, security agencies, of complicity in Anambra vote buying scandal. I hope they can bring forth evidence. NSCIA urges Christians to reject external efforts to destabilize Nigeria. Question is, are Christians being killed or not? And to the top strip of the Daily Independent, Anambra Guba poll, best ever by INEC, says re-elected Soludo. And we have 2 riders. Re-election testament to visionary leadership, a statement coming from the president, Tinubu. Hails Amu Piton for credible poll. Intel may face challenges despite relaunch promises, fresh investment. Now, from the Daily Independent, let's take a story we haven't taken before, which is your major story here. Sky high fares in Nigeria blamed on expanding web of federal government levies. Now, we recently heard about the 15% fuel import tariff that the president wants to put on importation of fuel. And we've had other levies coming up, taxation and all of that, which some quarters have commended as good reforms. And now, but for the average Nigerian, it's looking like it's becoming one too many. What's your take? Good reform or not?
Economically, it might be a good reform.
Economically for who?
For the country.
For the country?
Yes.
What of the citizens?
And the outcoming and discouragement of imports. It's also a good image for the country. However, for you to take a drastic decision, you need to create a balance. You need to have what we call common ground. And this is where the government is missing it out. And I also want to say it straight to the Nigeria Labour Congress, because they have failed to put a balance in their negotiation. If Nigeria increase the import tax in petroleum products, what it means is outside Dangote, other refineries can spring up within a minimum short time, and the number of people who will be employed in this country will increase. More than 5,000 persons are working in Dangote refinery. Compare having 10 refineries in Nigeria, taking that number of persons. You see that it is an economic balance for the country. But for the masses, we can only plead with the government to take it easy, one step at a time. We are still struggling to battle subsidy is gone. The statement credited to the president in 2023, subsidy is gone. We are still trying to come out from it. The increase in minimum wage didn't make any difference in us. So we'll try to encourage the government to put a stop to this sky, so that Nigerians should breathe, at least have a good breath in December, because if this goes up now, it means a lot of Nigerians might not travel during the December.
Okay, so I believe this is where we have to end it for today because of time. We still have an interview coming your way, so but do well to get yourself a copy of the different dailies which we have reviewed their headlines, and even the ones I mentioned earlier but couldn't get them. Do well to get yourself a hard copy or visit their website so you can get premium access to those stories. Still Monday's edition of the Morning Ride here on Delta Television. We'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll have one of our guests for an interview. Please stay tuned. recent times, terrorism and insurgency have continued to pose serious security threats across the country, from the Middle East to Africa. Nigeria, in particular, has remained one of the countries hardest hit by insurgency, banditry, and, as some argue, religiously motivated violence. The fight against terrorism and the need for global partnership in combating this menace has gained renewed attention following a recent controversy, US President Donald Trump's statement threatening to invade Nigeria over what he described as genocide against Christians. This morning, we'll be exploring this sensitive and important topic: global partnership against terrorism, Nigeria's call for support. Joining me to discuss this is Tola Ajemishobe, a respected public commentator and political analyst. You're welcome to the Morning Writer. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, it's good to have you.
Thank you very much.
Now, with all that has been said concerning these Trump's threat, as it's majorly tagged on the social media space,
Yeah.
let's begin with the big picture. Now, terrorism has remained a global problem for decades. In your view, how would you assess Nigeria's current fight against terrorism, particularly against the groups like Boko Haram, ISWAP, and bandits in the north?
It has been relatively poor.
Okay.
The fight against has been very weak. Nigeria have not been able to stand up, against the bandits, or what we call, Islamic militants or militias. So the fight against them has been very weak from the government side.
Okay. So, with what Donald Trump said, now we heard the likes of the Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs disputing that claim that it is not true. And we also had other persons saying that no, there is nothing like Christian genocide in Nigeria, and the US should not come. Where do you stand on this matter? Do you think that
you see that issue, this denier, okay? So the fact there, Donald Trump did not just woke up one day and said there's genocide against Christian faith in Nigeria. It is based on hard facts. Okay? It began like this. In 2014, prior to the occupation of Nigeria by Buhari government, they visited America, the United States of America, White House, and complained against genocide against the Christian faith. That matter was not decisive enough. Okay, that was the first petition I went to them. Secondly, the claim of Deborah, for the word called blasphemy, okay, against Imam. I'm sorry, Muhammad, as was lynched by a group of young men in a school. Okay, it was in Kaduna or something thereabout. Okay, these are pointer to the fact that there was what they call religious intolerance. Coming down to say somebody is denying the fact that there's a religious genocide or against Christian. I want to say, if you look, even when Donald Trump made that statement, okay, that they can no longer take this. Nigeria was now declared CPC, that is a country of particular concern, or I normally call it a Christian persecuted country. It is obvious from all ramification that indeed it's actually a fight against Christian. What does it so? If you look at the hues and cries outside there since that statement of Donald Trump, it has been fundamental list of the Islamic faith, walking, shouting, and making demonstration against that statement, showing fully well that it is actually religious affairs. You have not seen, because if they are all in the north there, we have the Christian, we have the Muslim. But the Christians have not come up together and say, no, you are not killing us. But we have seen the Muslims going about shouting on the television, shouting on the radio, on the paper, on the Facebook, or social media. It therefore means that, look, you cannot rule out that fact. There is actually genocide against the Christian faith.
So don't you think genocide is a strong word? Because
genocide is actually, in fact, maybe you should call it pogrom. Because in the situation when a whole town is leveled down, genocide is even smaller. It's not even wealthy. Program is better used here, because if you look at a whole town, a whole government will be mauled down. Okay, churches will be burnt, children will be killed. Of course, what English will you use?
But to be fair, mosques are also being bombed. And we also
let me tell you what happened in this case.
Muslims
I've
have
heard
died
that.
based on insecurity.
I've heard that. What happened is this. That's what they call the moderate Christian. Muslim there. That they feel they are not fundamental enough. They are not sharing the Sharia. People like Atiku, for instance, is not being considered as the Muslim of their faith. Let me tell you that in the north there. Let me tell you, I think I spent some very few years, about 3 or 4 years in the north. Even the Islamic faith, just like a Christian here, when you say one is deeper life, the other one is winners. The winner man said you can go to church without wearing a cap. So these are seen as a laissez-faire Christian. Over there in the north, you have those the one they call moderate Muslims. Those ones, and when they discover that a particular imam is not preaching that their own version of Islamic religion, that their version of kill, murder, if you are not preaching that, you are considered what? Moderate Muslims, and therefore they come after you as well too. But basically, what they wanted was actually that the Christians should not exist at all anywhere in the north. So Muslims, in natural sense, have been saying, no, leave them. They are equally, children of God too. We are all brothers by the standard of God. But these fundamentalists, these so-called Boko Haram, Iswa, what they call them, and see, these people have been completely against the Christian faith. And I can tell you that what you have over there in the north is actually against Christian. The Muslims that are being killed are those that are not of the same fundamental belief in their own.
Okay, so now with these statements that the US president made claiming Christian genocide, what impact does this have on Nigeria's global image and diplomatic relations?
It's okay. You see, people just overrate that statement. CPC is not only on Nigeria. For instance, even America, it's a personal, constitutional sections of the American laws. Okay, countries like China, it's equally declared declared CPC. Russia, North Korea. Okay, so it's not peculiar to Nigeria alone. It has to do with anything that is against that section of the Constitution of America. That section, it could be like one case is about killing of Christians. Okay, when they say a country of particular concern in China, that they have high-handed judgment against maybe capital punishment. Kill. When you are caught, you will be killed. So US say no. The American system of government is that of a welfare system. That's that to them there are other ways of dealing with such cases. Okay, not outright killing. So there are a lot of countries that have been, I just mentioned the 3 of them now. So calling Nigeria CPC does not make it such a very big concern. What is only of concern is that stepping their boot on Nigeria, so that is soldiers of America. Nigeria, so yes, at a point I was actually of that view that Nigeria is a sovereign nation, and therefore we should be allowed to rule ourselves, and we don't want to go back. But if you look at the recent outbursts of some fundamentalists in the north, opinion leaders, places like Gumi, okay, there are these 3 brands of argument they had. One is that the Boko Haram and all of these militias there are on revenge mission. That's a very serious matter. Revenging against who? Against Christian? Against Nigeria government? Against who? The other one they said the leaders can talk to them. If you can talk to them, why have you not talked to them? It means that's a complicit already. If Gumi said that they should not be ignored, that the leaders can talk to them, they listen to us. If they listen to you and they'll be doing this killing, these pogroms, all this while, you have not talked to them at all. So that means you are enjoying it. And a section of the media too come to this point. They said, look, they are carrying out instructions of a particular sections of the northern oligarch. Okay, having these 3 arguments from the north, these 3 current, report, okay, shows that there is nothing that should stop America from coming in, because the Christians in Nigeria, I think, were a little bit powerless. Especially now that even at the military, the top ranking in the military, Muslim, the president is a Muslim, vice president is a Muslim, and there's every reason that we might not get justice. And the Christian might not be protected. Not even at that, assuming that they are killing Muslim and Christian, Nigeria government is powerless. Okay?
You think Nigeria government is powerless, so they lack the political will?
That's what it looks. In a situation where you will not take decisive action, you only say, I condemn. But nothing will be done. For instance, when the brother was killed, nothing was done to those boys. Okay?
But it's not necessary.
No arrest. No, there was no arrest. There was no prosecution. There was nothing at all. And the lady, that young girl was killed and killed. Government never went after anybody at all. That's enough. So you don't need further thing to tell you that, look, Nigerian government is powerless.
So now the Nigerian government has talked about global partnership. Like the Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, he came out to say that diplomatic channels have been opened. So why is international cooperation so crucial into this fight? Meanwhile, now this is a dicey question for you because you've made your stance known. You would prefer that the US, they come into the country. Because it was last week, the US, they actually released their attack strategy. There was the light, medium, and heavy.
Yeah.
Of course, heavy means that soldiers have to invade,
of course,
and of course fighter jets and all of that. But the light one has to do with the collaboration.
Yeah, collaboration with Nigerian forces.
Yes. So what do you think about such collaboration? Because even the Nigerian government has said that they are open to collaboration.
You see, let me tell you one thing. In fact, I made a write-up this morning, and I sent to when I make write-up on issues like that, I sent to an American embassy. I do that whenever I'm making a write-up on this matter. I don't keep it to myself. Let me tell you, Secretary. They want to jeopardize that actions of the American soldiers. Of course, if collaboration with Nigerian forces, Americans will suffer for it because they will betray them. We have seen where Boko Haram, we have Boko Haram sympathizers among Nigerian armies, soldiers there.
It has been alleged, yes.
Now, if you now say, okay, this is what America will now leave their country to come and assist the Christian authorities, come and help Nigeria, that you now see bring the same Boko Haram sympathizers to watch their back. Of course, you should expect the worst. That idea of, collaboration should not exist at all. Because it will be a win-win for the Islamic militias.
You seem so confident in the abilities of the United States because when we have also seen countries that the United States have claimed to go and assist as well.
Iraq, yes. Let me tell you what.
Not just Iraq. No. So most times, these countries that tend to say they want to save a country or the citizens of another country, they have personal interests. And same has also been said about even China. China has said that they are supporting Nigeria and they will not tolerate invasion of foreigners, that Nigeria is a sovereign state. And reports has also come out that China, they also have their interests because it has been alleged that they benefit from illegal mining in the north. And they sponsor this terrorism so that they can go ahead with their illegal mining and steal the resources. When you support the Americans, don't you think that they have personal interests as well?
Let me cut you short. You see, let me tell you one thing. What exactly do you think you have here in Nigeria that they don't have in America?
It's not about that.
Okay, let me tell you one thing.
So what do you think the politicians want?
For more than 10 years,
yes.
For more than 10 years, America has stopped buying Nigerian oil. Are you aware of that? Okay? So, we only depend on them. Is that not correct? Your country here cannot survive without American assistance. Okay? So therefore, the whole idea is there's nothing that has to do with that they are having a personal interest. No. If you say I'm interested, if you say, well, probably but you want to save the Christian, because you see, American is branded God's own country. They went to Israel as well to help the Jews there. Okay? Coming to Nigeria here to help the Christians, was not anything at all.
But don't you see hypocrisy in the character of America? Are Christians not being killed in Palestine? Are Christians not being killed in the Gaza Strip? So why are they not fighting for those Christians?
Let me tell you one thing.
It's not interest. That's why they are supporting Israel.
You see, you are getting it very, very wrong.
Okay, how?
I say you want to tell me that you are enjoying the program going on in
No. Let's take away sentiments.
Now, if you say
Americans are interested,
if you go to Palestine, for
yes.
example, you have seen that, obviously speaking, the Palestinians, what do you call it, the Hamas there,
yes.
Actually, they used human shade to carry out the perpetrate that evil. Is that not correct? Yes. Human shade, hospitals, schools, to carry out, and the highly populated civilian density, areas to carry out. So at the end of the day, when the US went into, Israelis went there to carry that IDF, there's nothing you can do rather than to actually, because they are going after the Hamas, and the Hamas are living with the people. So what you saw there, you see, this one is the Haman Palestine's war is not American war at all. America never. The only thing is that Israel is a partner in progress with America.
So that's what I'm talking about.
So
that's my
the
main
issue,
point.
the issue of
Interest.
hyperage. If you say like I asked earlier on, if you say okay, because the Christians are powerless, because the militias in the Islamic world are quite after blood and blood and blood, and governments all over these affected countries have become complicit. Nigeria, for a case in point, you are mentioning here, whatever the Nigeria issue here, and you have seen that right from Buhari government down to this government we're having now, there have never been a decisive action against these militia atolls, and they have been doing the killings. Churches have been burned, fathers have been killed, you know, and Nigerian soldiers. I'm sorry, when you say you are revenging against a particular order that we don't know about, I am not aware. If you are revenging, and that's why you are doing this killing and killing and killing, I am not aware. At the end of the day, you see carry Sultan man, a Shakiri man, as a soldier to go and fight in the place where you are doing revenge that you don't know about it.
Okay, so let's leave the Western world. Beyond government efforts, what role can regional blocs like ECOWAS and the African Union play in building a unified African front against terrorism?
Well, you see, like America is coming now, for instance, now.
Yes.
They expect country that is AU, Sahel region there, and you know, to actually help ECOWAS to actually help moderate the activities of American soldiers there. That is just to go to that country, Nigeria, and wipe out, because even this issue of militants, militias, are not actually in the Nigerian soil. They are actually in Mali. They are,
yes.
Congo. What do you call it? Togo. So therefore, we really have to have a joint section together to enable us. Those days we have ECOMOG, and I was doing this job, but I think since the death of Abacha and Nigerian military system, ECOMOG actually went underground. We really don't have them be active again, and that's why the U.S. is trying to put this upon itself to save this voiceless religion called Christian.
Okay, finally, what concrete steps should Nigeria take going forward to deepen global collaboration, strengthen internal security systems, and build sustainable peace across the country?
I think just everything has to do with political will. The only answer to all this is political will. You see, in actual sense, not that Nigeria cannot do this or this work, but political will, because of the second coming election of Buhari, Tinubu now, he might not want to do what he ought to do, because he needs the vote. Political will. When you get political will, you can solve some of these problems. I can tell you that.
So, okay, because of time is up. You were talking about the president's second term. So you think that because of second term, they permit the killing of citizens?
You see, the word permit is overused there. Put it this way, that he has refused to act because of the interest that he was trying to protect. It has to do with his own re-elections.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Tola Ajemishogbe, here for sharing your insights on global
Dr. Tola
Dr. Tola Ajemishogbe. Okay, thank you very much for that correction. Thank you for sharing with us your insights and your perspective as it concerns global partnership against terrorism here in Nigeria. We do appreciate you for being on the morning ride. All right, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll have another guest for another interview segment. Please stay tuned. our final interview on today's Right, we'll be focusing on a very important health issue: kidney failure, the danger of self-medication, and herbal mixtures. And joining us to shed the light on this is pharmacist Greg Idibofu, a licensed pharmacist and health advocate. Welcome to the show. Good morning. It's good to have you.
Thank you. Good morning. It's nice to be here again.
Okay, so now let's begin with you explaining to the viewer what the kidneys do and why they are so vital to overall health. Now that organ, kidney.
All right. So the kidneys are actually every human being should have two kidneys, and the kidneys are responsible for removing waste from your body. That's via the blood. And when waste are removed, of course, you expect that toxins are also removed alongside. Okay. Excess water is also removed through the kidney. So when there are issues with the kidneys, you expect that there's going to be accumulation of waste, toxins, and of course, there will be what we call fluid retention in your system, which will manifest in several ways. We'll go on, we'll explain some of these things. So basically, the kidneys, they are the organs responsible for removal of waste, toxins, and fluids.
Okay, so now, what exactly is kidney failure, and what are some of its common causes or early warning signs?
All right, so like I said, kidney failure is a stage 5 kidney disease. That's basically the last point,
okay,
which will not require dialysis or kidney transplantation. But before it gets to kidney failure, we have different stages. Other 4 stages where we have where kidneys have normal function, stage 1. Now, all these stages they come up by way of classification through the glomerular filtration rate. Now, this glomerular filtration rate tells us how well, or the amount of blood that is filtered by your kidney per minute. That's majority milliliter per.
What's the
minute.
Average?
For this stage 1, typically we'll start from stage 1. Anything for 90 and above milliliters per minute is stage 1. Your kidneys have normal function.
90 milliliters per minute.
And above. That's for stage 1. Then for stage 2, the numbers begin to reduce. You understand? Until it gets to stage 5, where you have the kidney failure. But before the stage 5, there's what we call the you get to of course, before you discuss kidney failure, we have chronic kidney disease, that's CKD. Okay. It is the CKD that progresses to kidney failure. Okay. So why I said the kidney failure is quite extreme is because most times people with kidney diseases will not advance to that kidney failure level.
Oh.
Yes, provided that they detect the CKD, chronic kidney disease, and then they go through the normal treatment and the lifestyle modifications as recommended. Okay. So, but for the question you asked, okay, yeah, let me.
No, go ahead if you.
So, but for the topic we are discussing now, what's it called, kidney failure, and then the dangers of this self-medication, yes, and then herbal mixtures also. Fine. So, at the stage where a person has reached that kidney failure, of course, you know that it's now you just have one door between you and death.
And what's that door?
That door is, your kidneys have failed now. That's kidney failure. They are not functioning at all. So you only have 2 options. Either you do transplantation or you go through what's called dialysis. And dialysis, can be expensive and also painful. And most times people do not have the resources to actually go through the dialysis, not to even talk of kidney transplantation. So that's why I said you just have one door between you and death. So, but for some persons, if you detect the CKD early enough, that's kidney disease early enough, you go through the normal processes, the advices, take the right medication, balance your diet, and what have you. You may end up slowing down the progression of the kidney disease through the different stages. That means it may not get to the renal failure or kidney failure, which ultimately is the last step before death.
Okay, so in a situation like this, it's possible for just one kidney to fail. Yes. Like when the kidney disease progresses, it's possible that it's just on one kidney. It's not like once it affects one, it affects both.
Yes, it's very possible for one kidney to be affected. But in most cases, once one kidney is affected, the workload is now so much on the other kidney. Before you know what's happening, that one falls into. So even if one kidney is affected, I think you still need to go through those other processes, all these remedial processes, to ensure that the surviving kidney, the functional kidney, is not overloaded and doesn't fall to the same what we call damage.
Okay, now let's enter your major field, self-medication. Okay. Medication. Now, many people take drugs without prescriptions.
Yes.
Now, from a pharmacist's perspective, what is self-medication and why is it dangerous?
Yes, so this is something we keep preaching here and in other fora. Self-medication is bad for everybody. That's what I'm saying now. So even for medical practitioners, of course, we know you have some knowledge of medication, but there are some things that are beyond us. Like me as a pharmacist, I may have knowledge of several topics, but there are some deep things that I know, I need to see a consultant. That's what we call consultants. A consultant knows better than the regular medical practitioner. So consultant nephrologist, those people that deal with kidney now, I cannot say I want to contest my knowledge with that of a consultant nephrologist, because that person has gone deeper. He has spent years, research, resources to go deeper and deeper into the study of the kidneys and anything relating to kidneys. So we still have to also be mindful, even as health practitioner, before we now start. But let me even leave the health practitioner, because I assume that they actually know the functions, the benefits, the rules of the medications. Let's go to the general population, self-medication. Self-medication, one, you use a medication sometime last year because you had symptoms of malaria and you went for a test. Probably a doctor recommended the test. You did the test, came out malaria plus or so. They give you some medications. You took the medications, you got well. Then months down the line, you get the similar symptoms. You now, that last time I got this symptom, this was the medication I used. Let me go and use it again. It's possible that what you have is not even malaria. It could be hepatitis because they have similar symptoms. It could be typhoid because they also have similar symptoms. It could be any other thing that can cause fever, body pain, general weakness, and the rest of it. Then you now start binging on malaria medications. That is self-medication. The another case is to, you want to decide, okay, because I heard my neighbor or my friend, he mentioned to me that he used this medication when he was down with this condition. Oh, and I think I have the same thing. Let me quickly use this medication, and that's it. So the danger of this, now, how this impacts your kidney health is this. There are medications that you shouldn't use when you have renal disease. Let me say kidney disease. I'm going to be mindful not to mention kidney failure now because it's very heavy. Yeah. But there are some medications that you should not use, because using these medications over and over will also do what causes kidney diseases. And mind you, for people that self-medicate, it is very likely, in fact 95% of the time, it's very likely that they do not go for medical checkup. Because if you have the consciousness to go for medical checkup, then you should also have the consciousness to know that you shouldn't self-medicate. So people that self-medicate, they are very likely, there's a high chance that they do not go for medical checkup. And if you don't go for medical checkup, you may not detect kidney diseases early enough. Because I must mention here that for kidney disease, the early stages of kidney disease, you may not feel any symptom.
Okay.
So at the time you start seeing these symptoms, the disease may have progressed very far.
So can you share some of the symptoms? Okay,
fine. So for some of the symptoms, I'll just mention like 4 very popular or common ones. Swelling of your leg, your ankles, your ankles, your hands, and your feet. That is one common symptom. You see itchy skin. Itchy skin is another symptom too. Then you also have weakness, tiredness, weakness, loss of energy. That is also another one. Then the urge to frequently urinate is also another symptom. So when you have these 4 classic symptoms, you shouldn't just assume. You should run to your healthcare provider and complain that these are the symptoms I am experiencing. What could, be the cause of these symptoms? There are also other symptoms like loss of focus, test, and the rest of them. They are there too, but these 4 symptoms I mentioned, they are very classical. If you get these 4 symptoms, you should suspect this, but go to your healthcare provider to confirm.
One of the drugs that people abuse most of the time is painkillers, antibiotics. So now, how can indiscriminate use of these painkillers, antibiotics, and over-the-counter drugs contribute to kidney damage?
Okay, yes. So painkillers especially, And the ones that are most commonly abused are the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs.
Okay.
Examples like the ibuprofen, the diclofenac, and the rest of them. So, because any small slight pain, mix medicine for me, and there are people that have become so addicted to these pain medications that even if it's something that they just need to rest to get relief, they will still use pain medications. I've seen people that use pain NSAIDs, diclofenac for malaria, say, I'm feeling weak, and so once I take diclofenac, I will be well. Fine, good enough. If they take that product, they will feel agile. But that hasn't solved this. And then NSAIDs, they are complicated. Rather, they are implicated in chronic kidney diseases in the progression. So if you detect early enough that you have kidney diseases, NSAID is one of those medications your healthcare provider will tell you to do what? To desist from using. Or if you must use it, you should use it under sound clinical advice. Same goes for some antibiotics. Now, you recall I did mention where we started that the kidneys are responsible for the removal of waste. That's they help to detoxify, remove toxins, remove waste products, remove fluid from your system. You understand? But if the kidney function fails in this regard, that is where you now begin to see that there's now excess fluid, water content in your blood, which also manifests in all those swollen extremities, your leg, puffy eyes, and what have you. Then the toxins, they will build up in your blood too. You understand? So they build up in your eye. Of course, when toxins are built, when there's a toxin build up in your blood, there are symptoms you should expect. All this fatigue, loss of energy, weakness, itchy skin, and whatever. Because of course the blood flows through now around the body. So itchy skin and all those ones, they begin to manifest. So NSAID, they are contraindicated in kidney diseases. But most persons, because they don't even go for medical checkup to even know whether they have kidney disease, whether the early stage or not, they continue to use NSAID. It worsens the situation. Some antibiotics also do that too. In fact, generally we say self-medication because you don't even know the medications that will complicate your kidney diseases. There are some medications like I will give an example now. Potassium-containing medications. High potassium would also affect your kidney disease. Sodium also, that salt, will also affect your kidney function. Phosphorus will also affect your kidney function. So, what we call probably in subsequent time, what we discuss the dietary steps we can take to manage our kidneys and the rest of the world. So we begin to mention all these things. We bring in now foods that contain phosphorus, potassium, salt, and just the roles they play in your kidney disease progression.
Okay, so quickly, let's talk about the risk of herbal mixtures. Now, herbal mixtures and concoctions have become increasingly popular. Now, what are some of the risks associated with consuming these unregulated herbal products?
Okay, fine. Good. First and foremost, when you said unregulated, we are neither here nor there because for some of these preparations, we buy them, you see NAFDAC number on them. You understand? But if you go for that, you also see where they say that these claims have not been tested. In fact, if you check,
so why will NAFDAC approve something?
I'm coming to that. NAFDAC may not put that. That's the systemic failure we complain about every time.
Okay.
Now, if for products that are coming in from outside the country, you see where they will boldly write it. These claims have not been confirmed by the FDA. That's the agency responsible for their drug and the food administration in the US also. But in Nigeria, you see NAFDAC number, they will stamp it on it. Now, from experience, most of those NAFDAC registration numbers are fake. It's easy now. Nigeria is you can easily get NAFDAC. And once you see it, this drug has NAFDAC number, use them. Now, the problem with herbal medications is standardization.
Okay.
Most of them are not standardized. Now, we know that some person will tell you if you take the recent one now is what's it called, soursop. That you take it helps with cancer. Of course, I did research on that in school, but I would not advise anybody to go and pluck all the leaves you can get, pound them, and you start drinking it like that. You know why? Because I cannot tell you that this is the standardized dose that you can use. You can take minute, but the problem is that once you begin to use herbal medications, the herbal, most of the experts in quotes, there are people that are actually trained in that regard, but there are many persons that are doing herbal practitioners that do not have the basic knowledge of what those medications or those substances will do to your system, your kidney, your liver, and otherwise. And like we said, the kidney is responsible for removing waste from your system. Now, when you load the kidneys with all these herbal preparations, what you are doing is that you are overburdening the kidney. Same goes for the liver too. You are overburdening these organs. And of course, when they do more than what they should do per time, they begin to show fatigue. That is where these kidney diseases, they begin to crop in, and if you don't check them on time, they progress until they get to kidney failure.
Okay, because of time, can you just tell us how, one, whether somebody that's already down with kidney disease or a healthy individual can maintain their kidneys in order for them to stay healthy?
Okay.
And healthy decisions to take generally.
Okay, fine. Good and fine. So for people with healthy kidneys, you cannot confirm until you go for checkup. So that's why we recommend that you do regular checkup. Sometimes we say every 6 months, go and do your check for your kidneys, your liver function tests, and what have you. And if you can't do 6 months, at least every year, because you can do every year, because kidney disease will take several months, sometimes years, to manifest symptoms. So if you are doing all these routine checks every month, every 6 months, or probably every year or so, you may be on the right side, understand, so that you can detect these things early enough, then begin to manage them properly. Then for people that when you check and you see that you have some level of kidney damage, kidney disease, it may be stage 1, stage 2, or whatever stage, but before stage 4, stage 5 or so, what you can do now is now ensure that you follow up with your healthy diet, the what we call balanced diet. Of course, you need to, like I mentioned earlier on, phosphorus containing foods like dairy products, dairy products essentially. Then you advise to take food that contain low phosphorus, like your fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. And of course, food that contains high potassium, you also need to cut down on them too. Food that contain high salt, you also need to cut down on them too. So all these are things that you can do for yourself. Then again, exercises. You need to exercise at least 30 minutes every day, 30 minutes for 5 days of the week. That's also the day. Fluid intake. You take adequate fluid, because sometimes there's what I didn't mention, acute kidney failure or acute kidney disease or acute kidney injury. That one is an abrupt blockage of a kidney function. It could be probably through dehydration, because of dehydration, or probably because there's an injury, trauma to the kidney. Now, dehydration, like I mentioned, is one of the causes of that one. Now, that can also progress to acute chronic kidney disease, CKD. Now, when you rehydrate yourself properly, you find out that the risk of experiencing of a progression of a kidney CKD progression reduces. So rehydration is loss of lack of fluid intake, but rehydrate properly, that one is one. Then you also watch how you take medications, especially OTCs. The NSAIDs are more implicated in this. So you watch out, you don't just self-medicate, you don't just decide to take medication. And even if you have conditions that warrant using the NSAIDs, make sure that the advice comes from a qualified medical practitioner. That is one. Then of course, rest is also very crucial. You also need to rest properly, to rest when you should rest, you understand? So that is it. So for the want of time, there are many things that I can actually yes. mention.
We might need to bring you back.
Yes. So,
all right, thank you very much, Pharmacist Gregson Idibofun, for sharing your knowledge and expertise with us here on The Morning Ride. Via, you've heard it, do not self-medicate. If you need to get medication, ensure that it is prescribed to you by a health practitioner, a renowned health practitioner, a certificate practitioner, and all of that. So thank you very much for being part of The Morning Ride this morning, Pharmacist Idibofun. That's it on A Morning Ride. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll take our last interview for the day. Welcome back. Here with me in the studio for the last interview on Monday's edition of the Morning Ride is Superintendent Route Commander Patrick Obiagbo, and he's also the Public Enlightenment Officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps Delta State Command, and he's here for us to discuss on the FRSC's readiness these ember months. Good morning, sir. It's good to have you yet again on the show.
Good morning. Good morning, Delta.
Yes. So, let's talk about the FRSC, and of course, statistics have shown in time past that during the ember months there is increase in road crashes and careless driving and all of that. So, what is the FRSC doing to mitigate and bring to the barest minimum these abnormalities on the highway?
Yeah, thank you very much. FRSC, as you know, is charged with the responsibility of ensuring safety on our roads, managing roads, as I may say. Yes, you may be aware that in the last few weeks, FRSC have had so many activities. We have had programs like Take Responsibility for Your Safety, where we have to flag off our ember month programs. We have had town hall meetings. We have had the motorcade. We have had, and these are things we have had in the last few days. And on Saturday, 2 days ago, we also, our special marshal unit had a sectoral meeting. And all these things are to ensure adequate publicity and mobilization of our personnel, to tell Nigerians that we are ready to carry out our duties. And the question you asked about increase in vehicular movement resulting to crashes on our roads, I think that is the question you asked. Yes, we have always told Nigerians, I have repeatedly said it here on this program, that roads, that there is no demon on the road. Because of the increases of vehicular movement in ember month, particularly December, where a good number of Nigerians tend to go and celebrate with their loved ones, accidents occurs primarily because of human factor. We have told you that we have causes of accidents which boil down to human, environmental, and mechanical factor. But the basic one, because even the environmental and mechanical factor can still be linked to human factor. Human factor is a terrible situation. It's a very complex behavioral pattern of Nigerians, particularly data drivers, where they intend to ignore a lot of things, overspeed, carry overload. They do not tend to maintain their vehicles. Some of them use one hand to drive while answering calls. Some of them don't fasten their seatbelt. Their tires are not well gauged. Sometimes their tires are bad, expired, or even worn out. A lot of things. So FRSC this period, like ever before, we are ready. We are ready. Like I said a few weeks ago, we had a motorcade where we sensitize Nigerian people, and coming here every week is also aimed at sensitizing Nigerian masses, our people here in Delta State, telling them what to do and what not, and that is what we keep doing. And I want to assure Nigerians that the Corps has fully mobilized. We are fully mobilized, where the FRSC, where we are deploying over 1,300 personnel in Delta State. Our hospital, our emergency centers are on. Our mobile courts will be on. The patrolmen will be on. Our zebra, we have a place we call zebra, rest place will be on. all of this. The towing vans are on, the clinics are on, virtually everything will be on. So we are ready, we are good to go.
Okay, you talked about the factors that cause accident, 3 major factors: human, environmental, and mechanical. Now, let's speak to the human factor. So what can we, the humans, do? What role should we play in ensuring safer roads this Ember month?
Yes, I think last week I was on radio where we talked about morning parade, where we told Deltans that morning parade here is not just about we coming out to start marching, no, but our first activity before starting our vehicle, before moving out with our vehicle, that is ensuring our vehicle is in the right position, is safe. You know, coming out in the morning to check your lighting system, check your water system, check your brake system, check your tire system, and checking yourself, ensuring that you are fit to drive. That is exactly what we call a morning parade. So just like you ask, human factor basically is what are we going to offer? What are we going to do to ensure safety? Sometimes you see a human being, because your vehicle cannot move without you accelerating it. As long as today is concerned, you cannot just kick motor and your vehicle start moving. Someone must be there to pilot it, to accelerate your vehicle. So human beings, our drivers, our motorists, road users must be very careful. Believe that first thing, like my sector commander said during the Ember Month campaign, that believe that you must go out, leave point A to point B, and still return from point B to point A where you left. That makes you an expert. That makes you a very good driver. You are ready to go, and you are able to achieve going and coming back safely without any problem on the road.
Okay, so still on the human factors, it has to do with the morning parade, checking everything. Then the environmental factors, because you said when you consider the other factors, humans still have roles to play. So in the environmental factor, what should we do? Now, I'm not just talking about the driver on the road. What should we do to ensure that the environment is conducive and safe for drivers and road users in general?
Yes, we have a very significant role to play with reference to environmental factors. First, as a driver, let us look at the nature of our roads. You know, you should be able to, a road you are applying for the first time, for instance, you don't know much about the road. You are expected to slow down. Slow down. Very soon we are about to enter Harmattan, where you have fog. We have a pothole on the roads. Sometimes you may even find waterlogged areas. It is expedient as a driver. You drive with common sense. Not because where you say move, then you start going beyond or even speeding up to 100 kilometers per hour. You can slow down because it is expedient, because it is necessary for you to slow down, to drive safe. Remember that you don't know the area, so slow down. We have always, we have a slogan, we say take am jeje. We say please take am jeje because you don't know that area. Remember that it may be build up areas where we have things like students crossing, we have animal crossing, we have people crossing, a lot of things like that, you know. So we advise slow down your vehicle so that there wouldn't be any form of a crash on our road.
All right, so for lack of time, as we begin to wind down, what would be your last word to all road users in this Ember Month season?
Yes, to Deltans, FRS is ready to carry out our duties. We don't want accident. We will continue to talk to you. Please There is no expert in driving. The expert is the person that left point A for point B and again returned from point B to point A. That is the expert. Please, we don't measure expert by the number of speeds you run. Reduce your speed, maintain your vehicle. Be careful. Remember that the road is not personalized. It is not your private road. Other people, we have other road users. So it is important you use your common sense to ensure safety. We don't want accidents on Nigerian road. We don't want accidents in Delta. Nevertheless, we are fully mobilized. If you drive anyhow, if you drive carelessly, we arrest you. And I want to assure you that our mobile court system will be live. We will drag you down to mobile court and we ensure that you are fully prosecuted. Please drive to stay alive.
All right, thank you very much, Superintendent Route Commander Patrick Obiago, the Sector Public Enlightenment Officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps Delta State Command. Thank you for sharing with us the FRSC's readiness these Ember months. You've heard him, drive to stay alive. And if you break the law, they are very much available to arrest you, but the general aim is for you to drive to stay alive. And the expert driver is the one that leaves point A to point B and returns from point B to point A. It's not about the speed you ply on the road. And that will bring us to the end of Monday's edition of the Morning Ride here on Delta Television. On behalf of the production crew, it is I, Ogaga Ikama, thanking you so much for your time.